had doubts in my mind, as it seemed the true answers I would never find. Although I tried and I tried, I just couldn't conceptualize. Why, oh why, he would make that type of sacrifice just to save this tainted soul of mine. And then I cried and I cried. For my pain I could no longer hide. Although I did try to keep it bottled inside. But God, he was kind. He said, hold on, Akeisha. These things take time. For I am divine. You may not see it now, but there's always a reason to my rhyme. And so I couldn't deny that I needed a little more insight. And so God, he obliged, for he knew my vision wasn't right. And then he lent me his eyes. And suddenly I began to regain my sight. And I got tears in my eyes and trembles up my spine. And I had to get wise because I was so afraid that I was headed for my demise. But God, he said, don't worry, for everything will be all right, as he already had a perfect plan. And that plan was airtight. And I wanted to believe, which meant I had to continue to fight. And I looked at that devil and said, devil, not tonight. But I had to remain humble. And I had to swallow my pride. And no matter how much I stumbled, God still agreed to let me inside. But he said, first, all my rules you must follow and abide. And there are no other options but to simply comply. And not until then will your fears truly subside. And I didn't understand why. So God, he gave me another sign. But it didn't happen right away, as it took a little more time. And it wasn't overt. It was subtle. It was intertwined. So deep in my consciousness, it became hard to find. And I got more discouraged, as I thought he was playing with my mind. But God, he doesn't play games. Although he is clever and he is wise. And he will name names. And he'll call you out every time. But the devil, he thought I still had doubts. And so he still pursued me. And he offered other options. And he tried to confuse me. But this time I was prepared. And I refused to let him use me. And I was no longer scared. And the only voice I heard was God saying, choose me. He said, don't you listen to that devil, for that devil is a lie. And you can't worship two leaders. And there is no compromise. As you can't have it both ways. As those two worlds don't coincide. And once I was free to decide to kick that enemy to the side, I became victorious, as he had no more say-so in my life. And when I took back control, his evil ropes came untied. And there were no more hold from those ties that bind. And when it was no longer a choice, it was a rule that I must live by if I wanted to move forward and stop living this lie. Because I didn't want my spot in God's kingdom to ultimately be denied. For without him, I would exemplify all the lost souls that were roaming without any directions in their life. And they missed the memo, as a revolution wasn't televised. And they're still worshiping that idol who's stuck on the outside, who's not even on God's level. He hasn't even been certified. Matter of fact, he's banned from the circle. He's not even an ally. And so I thought, yes, I finally get it. I took back my life. But God looked at me and said, you're not finished, as you won't get it on the first try. And God looked me in my eyes and said, this car I shall drive, as I am the only navigator of this ride. And I had to sort through to find all the hidden clues that he left behind, as he promised the path would be clear if I just read between the lines. And so today I had to testify and share with you my struggles, my demons, and my strife, because I feel so much joy and I can't keep it inside, as I finally comprehend that he's the only reason I'm alive. And my path to the Lord has finally been solidified. And so I looked up to the sky with both of my hands held high, and I said, Father, I appreciate all the wisdom that you provide, and I will continue to climb and attempt to reach the heights that you have defined. For I know that I was created by your perfect design, and I will always shine as long as I'm sparkling in your lights. For now I recognize that your love is what given me flight, and now I certify I will worship you with all of my might. For you gave me back my voice, and I will never again drop my mic.